this festival invited me to come here, and that was like the beginning of a really cool adventure here in Romania. Been coming back for like 4 times now this year, so it's all kind of thanks to this great festival. Um, so where to begin? Maybe I don't know that it's clear for everybody in the room, but this is a fake documentary. So they're all actors, and it's a made-up story. So in that sense, I will give you a little glimpse behind the curtain about how to make a mockumentary, what to do and what not to do. So yeah, in my mind, there are like 3 kinds of mockumentaries. You have the one where you know from the beginning that it's a fake documentary. Like a good example is this is Spinal Tap, or the series the talk about this. But he has a very clear objective with this. If you had to make a documentary about Banksy, who else is better than Banksy himself? And if you look at his art, he always tries to question what is real art and what isn't. Is the real art in the museum, or is art that is in the streets not real art? He tries to convince you to question the image, and that is why I think he uses the mockumentary genre to do the same effect for you as an audience to question what you see. So yeah, he thinks about the form uplifting the content and vice versa, and that's really important if you choose to make a mockumentary. I guess for me that was a great inspiration. So what I also liked about the Exit to the Gift Shop is the fact that he uses humor and irony to tell a story, and he very much tells a story. Of course, all the artists you see in the documentary are real street artists. It's his milieu, but he uses this made up character to take you on a sort of a voyage. To take you on a story, and he's very much a storyteller. And that's very important. In that sense, that's what I try to do with the Applause Man as well, is to take you on a story with this special character. And yeah, also for me, in the same sense, using the form to uplift the content, I try to ask certain questions. If like, is passion real? Does passion gets corrupted when you get too much attention? And how is it to have this obsessive passion? Where do you lose yourself? And for me, the mockumentary genre is also to look beyond this image. Anton, for him, everything is very real, I guess. But what we make of it is maybe, yeah, just an unconstructed image. So there's a third kind of mockumentary, I guess the one I made, where you don't know from the beginning that it's a fake documentary, but gradually, while watching, you get certain clues, or not, and after the movie, you get it. You see that it's a fake, and that's when actually a second movie starts in your head, and you have to reframe everything. And that's has a very particular effect. It's totally different than the other two. I'm gonna mainly talk about this last one, because I made that one. So where to begin? Okay, let me take you back to 2014, October 2014, almost 3 years ago, exactly 3 years ago. I just finished the post-production of the movie, and you start to get really nervous because you can show it to an audience. And actually, 6 months before, I made another documentary who just won a real one, by the way. Who just won Best Belgian Documentary. And the festival where I got the prize, they were really curious to see my next project. So I'm glad to show them. I show it to them, and they hate it. They pretty much denied the movie. They don't like mockumentaries, I guess. And I get more nervous because of this. I said, what the fuck did I do? This is the most silly story ever. I'm pretty much ready to drink myself to death. So everything that I built up for 6 months, in 6 months, I mean, you win the great prize. Everybody wants to get to know you, and then you make a sucky movie. Like, my credit was after 6 months gone. That was the impression I had. But one of the big TV stations in Belgium knocked on the door. They wanted to show the movie, and even better, they wanted to play along and not communicate to the audience and to the press that it's a fake documentary. So that's the ideal situation. You can't have anything better than this. This is what we kind of hoped for. So 2 months later, they're gonna show the movie. That day is around 10:30, not prime time, but it's not too late for a documentary. Not everybody's asleep. I'm walking my dog that evening, and suddenly it hits me, like, really hits me. If this movie is gonna fail, it's gonna fail hard, okay, for a big audience. And I'm pretty much pretending here that this guy Anton de Pauw was famous in the 90s. He was in all the newspapers. He was on TV, and everybody forgot about him. Who will believe this? I mean, you don't really, maybe I got a little nervous, too nervous at that point, but movie starts, I cannot watch it on TV. I'm too nervous. Movie's over. I get the first text messages from friends and family. Always nice from them to support you. Good movie. What a character. What a great story. Okay. Yeah. So, do you get it? I mean, you can't really ask in a message like, how did you realize that it was fake? So I'm like, yeah, okay. Because when we designed the story, we thought like 50% that will get the clue, think it's funny, and the other 50 will eventually get the clue. So the first reactions I got were pretty, confusing for me, because I had the impression that, nobody talks about that it's fake. So they didn't really get it in my book, but I go to bed. Next day, I go out, talk to people, and it's really exciting if the first time somebody comes to talk to you about your film when it's just finished, especially when you make a mockumentary. And people come up to me and they tell me how much Anton, they loved him, and what a special character, and they recognize a lot of things, but I never heard about him. How come? Where did you find this guy? And then you kind of have to be like, Santa Claus doesn't exist. That feeling, especially if it's like this really big guy who comes and tell you how much Anton meant to him. It's fake, man. Sorry. So I have friends. I had friends who came up to me and told me, I've seen Anton. I've seen him streak. I worked in a bar and he came in a few times and I talked to him. Yeah, okay. So this big Belgian film critic calls me a few days later, and he's like, "I want to do a story on Anton. I want to do an interview with you, but first I'm gonna do some research. Can I call you later? Okay, no problem." I call my producers. I say, "Guys, I don't think this guy gets it. I mean, this is one of the big film critics. Am I about to lie to this guy? I'm about to gonna destroy my career here. What if he hates this fact that it's fake? Then yeah, my credibility will be out the window." So he calls me back. Yeah, I can't find anything about Anton besides in relationship to the film. So what does that tell you? Oh my god, I can imagine what the hell, but he loves it. He loves the fact, he loves the film. He likes it even better, and he still wants to do the article, but he's gonna expose us. And I was so relieved. I was so happy that finally I could talk to someone about this, because the last 4 years, every time, what are you doing? What are you working on? Yeah, I have this movie about a guy stealing applause. Really? Is this a real thing? Yeah, yeah, he exists. Yeah, he's was famous in the 90s. So finally, after 4 years, I could spill my heart to this guy, kind of like I'm doing now. Uh, this is like therapy for me, I guess. Um, and there's this big article. Everybody uh, is informed uh, that way, or the whole of Belgium. And yeah, words gets around, and most people, okay, they feel betrayed, but most people get a joke, and they can, yeah. For them, I had people who saw the movie after the news got out, and they were really disappointed. They didn't have the full experience, and that's what I mean. This it's a special kind of mockumentary in that case, because you have it's yeah, you have to travel twice, you know. But I also received some hate mail. People compared me with Hitler. Um, yeah, I kind of feel bad for the guy, because he yeah, he was so touched by the story of Anton that he called his mother and his brother in the middle of the night to talk about Anton. And then a few days later, he had to read in the newspaper that it was fake. And yeah, that must have been painful, I guess. And I get in discussions as well with colleagues, mostly other film directors, actually, who say that I crossed the line, that uh, yeah, you have this certain contract with your audience where you say this is real and this is fake, and I kind of broke that contract. Uh, it's undermining. And in my defense, I don't think of it that way. I see it that I didn't sign any contract. I'm a filmmaker. I mean, I tell a story in the form that I see fit. I'm not a journalist, and the story of Anton is not news, and the lie certainly doesn't hurt anyone. So, um, in that sense, but there's a certain guilty conscience in the back of my mind, I guess. Uh, so if I'm even slightly bit feel this, uh, why making a mockumentary? Um, First of all, because it's a good story. I didn't write it. A friend of mine in script writing class wrote it. It's one of the first projects he wrote, and I read it, and I wanted to see this. I wanted to make this. Uh, I was so captivated by this whole idea. Um, yeah, it's a it's a special story because it's written as a rise and fall story. and that's designed to feel empathy. You go with him on this trip, and then you're taken down. And of course, the character Anton, it's so mesmerizing that he does it well. But funny enough, um, she didn't write it as a mockumentary. Actually, she wrote it with talking heads. But for her, the whole story was in some kind of parallel universe. She where Anton lived, the universe resembled ours, but the producers, they wanted a mockumentary. They said, you have to believe this story. And I was kind of cut in between the two. I mean, yeah, how will we make this believable? He was famous, but nobody knew him. I had my doubts, but I was working on this other documentary, um, like I said, where I won the prize, and it was a very personal, close project about a guy battling racism and wanted to become a singer, and poverty and everything. So very, yeah, delicate scenes, and you know that you can make or break the guy. And you have sometimes have to protect your character against themselves, but you're not showing everything. So are you then dishonest? These were all kinds of questions I had in my mind, that were battling, and I saw that this was perfectly fitted in the story of Anton, because uh, it's kind of the same thing. Anton is dead. I cannot talk to him. I cannot be close to him, but I reconstruct the story by talking to his friends and relatives, and they have all a different point of view of Anton. And with these different point of views, I construct an image of him, but it's my subjective point of view. I don't know if this is true or not. Um, what I really liked about that, and what was really important to me, is that everybody calls him with a different nickname, uh, because everybody knew him a different way. I am somebody else to you than that I am to my grandmother, but it's still me. And like that, giving this little detail to everybody helped me to form this story. Um, so how did we do this? We worked a long time. Crucial for us was the fact, how will we film it? Every scene it comes out of somewhere else, and we had to know uh, to shoot it, who is filming it for what, and for example, in the beginning, the character of Willem, his buddy cameraman, was not invented. We were working on the breakdown of the script, and about a month before shooting, we were like, yeah, but this scene, why is there a camera crew there? And this feels weird, and how can we do this? So we got really in trouble. It's not logical that there would be a film crew there. We took it back to the script writer, and she did her magic, I guess, because she came back with this brilliant idea. Like, okay, let's give him a cameraman buddy who goes along the way. And that was brilliant, because that way we could get a lot closer to Anton. We had a reason to shoot certain scenes, and you had a very good dramatic arc, character arc of his friend who believes certain things and then gets really disappointed. So that was great. His character tied the script together, actually. A second thing we paid a lot of attention to was there's something called the Zapruder curve. I don't know if somebody knows, but it's this theory where you say that if you add enough mistakes to the shoot, people will perceive it as true. So if you add camera shake or sharpness, little faults, mistakes, if you like timing mistakes, just in or out of frame, then it will come across as true. So we started to use this. Maybe sometimes went too far. I had to go back a little bit because you have to think completely differently. You have to normally you go for the best shot and the shot that tells you the most. But here we wanted to make it more ugly and destroy certain things. So we're certainly for the 90s, we were adding noise and running it through old VCRs and using old cameras to shoot. Sometimes just give it to one of the extras to shoot some random things because the cameraman said, "Yeah, this is against my nature. I cannot make this ugly." And then, okay, you do it. So stuff like that we incorporated. Another crucial part, of course, is the casting. The casting of Anton was so crucial. He had to be a really good actor, unknown, and had to be convincing. He has a period from early 90s to 2008. So he could like grow a beard, a full beard in a matter of weeks. So that was kind of handy in this case. And he had the right energy. I mean, for me, it was Anton. He brought a lot to the table. All the other actors were all theater actors, actually, not known from the TV. Also, for Anton, we were very lucky because the project took 4 years to make because a lot of people had to do this after their day job. And we were very lucky that during those 4 years, he didn't got cast in a major film or soap opera or something, because that would completely destroy us. So yeah, we were lucky, and I believe that it was meant to be. So that's my thing. But we used also non-actors. The security guard, for example, was a non-actor. He was a real security guard, and I used his nervousness in front of the camera in my advantage. The psychiatrist is actually a teacher of mine in film school. And the way I approached him was I didn't tell him that it was a fake documentary. I told him that it was a real character, but for the role of the psychiatrist, they have professional secrecy, so he cannot testify, and I wanted to recreate it. So he bought that, and when he heard afterwards that it was fake, he thought it was really funny. So thanks. I had to thank him there because I was nervous about that. But yeah, you have to find different approaches to each kind of actor. Another thing was because I was really paranoid that one little mistake would ruin everything. I wanted to reduce the possibility of these mistakes, and I wanted to shoot in real locations. So we went to the psychiatry, for example, and shoot there in a real office. Sometimes I really had to battle the producers on this because for them it was like, yeah, an office is an office. What can you do? It's like, no, I have to be there. You have to feel the hallways. You have to feel the patients living there. It will affect the performance of the actor and the atmosphere. And we cannot take any chances. For example, the cook, he's not a real cook, and he cut his vegetables the wrong way. So we had to zoom the image that it was so you can't see his hands. Otherwise, it would be a given. You would see that it's a fake hook, and everything is gone in seconds. I also every article you see in the about him, I wrote personally. Did kind of interviews with him because I was scared if you would pause it and you read it, then it would be fake as well. And the major thing was the streaks. They are all in the 90s. Anton was not there, obviously. So we had to use CGI to paste him in all the images. So we spent weeks in the archives of the film TV stations to find the right images, to look where we can put him in. And yeah, that came totally at the end of post-production. So I'm editing, and if you're a filmmaker, you'll know this. You have this, yeah, dipius, we call it, like you get down like, oh, it's all shit and this will never work. You have that, but more because you always see these for now pieces of streaking, and like all this effort that we are putting in here, like the art director, we did this with a very big team, art director, costume department, we are doing our absolute best. And right at the end, if it's not done good, this CGI thing, then all, yeah, for nothing. So I got he got some nervous calls from me. I had some sleepless nights, and he was always like, "Don't worry, man, I'll fix it. I have to work during the day, but my home nights are for you." Okay, cool. So this is one guy who did everything. That's really amazing. Technology today, it's so, yeah, accessible. They were all fake streaks except for one. I wanted to do one real one at the beginning, because I believed if the audience sees this one and believes it, it would take all the others with them as well. You know, they yeah, it's the same for the story. I wanted to take the audience, and if they laugh in the beginning, they let their guard down, and they, I guess it's more accessible to believe everything. That's how we designed it. So CGI guy does a tremendous job, I think. The film is pretty much finished, and we encounter the next big problem. How will we sell this? It's very difficult to reach certain festivals because, yeah, it has no place in a fiction festival, and documentary festivals, yeah, they take themselves sometimes really seriously, um, or they are scared of the audience, they say, or their reaction, that they won't accept this. So in the beginning, we were quite honest about it. So it's a fake documentary and didn't really pay off well. And then we stopped saying it, and we got some more selections. And for me, it was every time it was quite exciting to know if they chose it movie because it was fake or not. So I go to these places and I say, "Do you know about the Applause Man? Yeah, yeah, good movie. Okay, you really know? Yeah, why? Okay, you do your Q&A and you're like getting the first questions and they don't know. So then I go, I follow the movie everywhere because, yeah, like I said, you have to know the truth to have the full experience. But yeah, once you get it out, the truth, then I always hope that I could fly back again. But yeah, and certainly don't expect to be asked back to do a masterclass, actually. So it shows that this is a really cool festival, actually. But yeah, you have this hate love relationship with mockumentaries, and I think when a mockumentary is executed well, we we love it, but in the back of our mind, it's like, yeah, but I hate the fact that you just lied to me. And I guess, actually, I think mockumentaries don't lie to you; they tell you the truth. What do mockumentaries do? They give you a glimpse behind the curtain. They show you the mechanics of how an audiovisual story works, and this, in this way, they try to be truthful, actually. So, but the way I see it, you want to show the public the what's behind the scene, how it works. They don't care. They an audience is aware. They are not stupid. They are aware that they are being deceived and manipulated. Maybe not how or how much, but they know, and they willfully agree to be shown other worlds and stuff like that. But they don't care actually what is the manipulation. They just want to see a good story. And mockumentaries, it's not a lie, I guess, but they remind you the power of stories. And in that way, they remind you to our human nature, because everything, you get really annoyed because I have a lot invested in this thing. So why do you come and tell me that this is fake? And deconstruction of a story can be good. You have powerful, dangerous stories out there, but there are very good stories as well that are important. And if you start to deconstruct that, where are we heading? And that's one of the main points in making a mockumentary, where my guilty conscience is into play, because I don't want to live in a cynical world. I want to I don't want to wake up and see this, because it's dangerous. And that is why mockumentaries have to do more than just say, look, the world is fake. No, they have to add to it. They have to, like for me in the Applause Man, I sometimes ask myself, did I make a warm or cold movie? Did I make a cynical movie? I don't know, but I hope not, because when we were making this, for us, it was all about this passion. One of the taglines was, "It's better to be lived and be passionate than to not have lived, to have lived without a passion." A certain moment during the development, all this fake, real, battling my demons, I couldn't do anything with it. Really, I had to put it completely aside and had to go back to Anton and who Anton was, because to make this movie, I had to believe that Anton was real. I had to really believe in this guy, and it's for me, that is the most important thing. That I think this movie really works is the fact that cinema, it's a lot about trickery and make believe, but it only works when it comes out of a genuine human emotion. And I had to find that in Anton, and I hope in that sense I made a warm movie. Thank you very much. I guess there are going to be questions, not too hard ones, please.
Yeah, thank you very much for this film. It was great crafted, very well narrated, and it kept the audience viewing it. And it's really a wonderful piece in in many aspects. And let me say first that I love films which cross boundaries. For example, one of the first person who made a fictional documentary and who used the word fictional documentary was Dennis O'Rourke, who made The Good Woman of Bangkok. And in this film, he played the role of a filmmaker who bought a woman in Bangkok and had sex with her for a long time, had a relationship. And at the end of the film, he said a fictional documentary, and he thanked women organizations. And later in interviews, it became clear he casted the woman, and he played the role of a fake filmmaker, yeah, to touch the audience. He said, I wanted to break the contract between the filmmaker and the audience. All are good people. The filmmaker is a good man. The audience is a good man. Out there, this world is bad. So he wanted to break, and he wanted to step on the other side to engage people. And it worked. But he said at the end of the film, a fictional documentary, and he thanked the women organizations. In your credits, I couldn't see that it's a mockumentary. And so I have to admit I have a problem with the document, the film as a kind of document. I'm not sure whether you're the filmmaker. I'm not sure whether the film was on TV. I don't know whether you walked the dog in the evening. I'm not sure about your emotions. I don't know whether you made the film at all. But still, you want to talk to us. And if you want to talk to us, we need a contract. Yeah. And you say, I didn't have a contract with the audience. You had a contract with the audience, and you violated the contract with the audience. And I think your excuse to play with the genre of documentary. Documentary has established over a long time, and there is a silent contract between the filmmaker and the audience. And I think it's okay to play with the contract, with that kind of contract. But I haven't made up my mind finally what to think about it. So the only objection I have is you say I didn't have a contract. I say you had a contract. If you want to talk to us, we have a contract. We should believe that you are the filmmaker. When you tell us later it was never on TV, I don't have a dog, nobody has seen the film before, I didn't receive an SMS. I mean, how shall we deal with each other without having a contract? Dennis O'Rourke made this little thing at the end, a fictional documentary, and he thanked. So what I wish is that if we play with the genre mockumentary, that we need an established form to find a contract between the mockumentary filmmaker and the audience. Otherwise, I have no trust in any documentary. I have to Google each and everything. The last thing yeah, okay, good. I stop at this point.
I have also question, but my English is not so good. Excuse me for my English. I don't think like you. My feeling was, why did you construct the element who what makes me suspicious about your documentary? I recognize it is faked of the film. Why did you choose it? Is one question. Another question is, I was very well amused. I enjoyed very much your film, and you are a very good storyteller. And why did you choose the kind of mockumentary? It could be also a feature film. Why mockumentary? What is your motivation to choose mockumentary?
Did you mean fiction film or feature film? Yeah, but it's okay. If you recognize it's fake, that's completely normal. We have certain clues during the story. You pick them up or you don't. So in that regard, that's completely fine. why not a fiction film? Well, for me, the appealing stuff in the story was the fact that I could not talk to him. I cannot find his motivation. I have to construct an image by speaking to his relatives and friends, and lay this puzzle and try to find out what it is that drove Anton. Was he crazy? Was he really passionate? I don't know. I have no idea, but I believe that he was, when he says at the end that it's an exercise in complete uh, yeah, devotion. That is his truth, but I'm not sure. So that was form and content were very much intertwined, and I never felt that it would work as well as a complete fiction film. About the contract, yeah, I disagree. Sorry. We can do a long discussion, and I wanted to talk to you after the movie, but I don't think this is the right setting for this. Well, okay, I'm gonna try to answer. You have, when you're a filmmaker, I don't think it's in any way constructive to, if you are generating, if you are creating some, and we all try to create something that is art. I'm not saying my movie is art, but it's an attempt. In any moment during that creative process, does it help you to think in ways as contracts? It's completely destructive for your imagination, for your creativity, and I don't care if you can say that you can believe me, everything I said here last hour, it's true or not. Does it really matter? I don't know. The important thing is, like I said, that the emotion that I try to convey, if you believe that, that means that it comes from something, a place so very real. If you have certain emotions with this movie, that is the real thing. That is what it's about. And all the rest is theory. Sorry.
Yeah. Thanks. Thank you very much for the film and everything that you're saying. I just wanted to add another voice to say that I don't feel betrayed at any point by your film. I really liked it, and I don't think there's a contract at any point, because this is not law or European Union accession or something. It's art, so you should be free to do whatever you want. That we should be free to feel betrayed by it or not.
Sorry, to add to it, I think the discussion is really good.
Of course,
That is important, especially in this day and age.
yes.
We have to talk about this. But as an artist, I don't have to.
I mean, it's also not like you wrote the story in the beginning. So, like, the only thing that makes us think it's real is the way that it's shot. We know a lot about the conventions that we're used to, and I feel like you achieve much more with this film. So there's this whole layer of his story and the emotions that it transfers that are real, as you say. But then, with the fact that you chose a mockumentary, gets a meta level where you actually get to question first the style that we use for creating documentaries, even more importantly, the concept of truth itself. Like you said, you feel like it's very destructive to start thinking about the contracts when you're creating art. I think it's also very destructive to deceive yourself when you're making documentaries that you're creating truth. And I feel like your film also questions a lot about how many, like yesterday, I saw a documentary at this festival, which was very good, but it had like 3 script writers, and it feels a bit strange sometimes. I don't have a problem personally with that, but I think it's a thing that we should discuss. And it's nice in this time and age that we have things seeping through each other, like Guy Madden's films, who go from documentary to fiction and to everything. So yeah, I feel like we're on the same page somehow, and I For a question, I wanted to ask you: are you a fan of the works of Andy Kaufman?
I saw the movie, and after that, I looked a lot up on the internet on YouTube. Yeah, I'm a fan. Yeah, um, but to add to what you say, yeah, mm, especially this day and age, it's important to talk about this, to discuss it, and a work of art has to throw something out there, and then this discussion: did he break a contract? Yes or no? Helps us to understand the world. And to be completely honest, when we were making this in 2010, even last year when the movie played here in at Astra,
With Trump or
fake
before?
news was not even a thing then. It was with Trump that fake news became really trending, and that's only 10 months ago. And it's really interesting to see this movie a year later has a completely other shine on it with the whole post-truth and fake news thing. And that's kind of a surprise for me, because in 2014 when it aired, it was what a nice joke, and we laughed and we cried, and it was good. And now we have these discussions over contracts, and were you allowed to do that? Okay, certainly it got a lot more serious, and I'm uh, I'm more aware now. I mean, it's a dangerous stuff when fake news gets out there. You see how much it influences you, and maybe yeah, this contract is important, but it's not with films that the contract is important. It's journalism. It's I mean, there has always been fake news. Only the media has changed. The way we consume media has changed, and yeah, I mean, propaganda was World War II, you know, but now it's in your bubble and it affects you. And the most dangerous thing, and that's what I try to say as well, is the fact that if people gonna perceive everything as it's fake, uh, don't believe anything anymore. I stop believing. That's the biggest lie, because if somebody comes and tell you don't believe anything, it's all fake, that's the best way to control you. So yeah, it's important, this contract, and movies like this have to like maybe provoke certain things.
But I feel like you did keep a contract with us, because I mean, throughout the films, you have a lot of clues that it's fake. If you wanted, you could have made it even more believable. Like at least from half of the film, it really goes over the top, and
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
clear. I think so. It's a contract as well.
For me, it was a complete surprise actually,
Yeah.
that in Belgium at the time they didn't pick it up. That was a complete surprise.
Especially in Belgium, because I mean,
Yeah.
I could believe that I don't know about a Belgian famous guy from the 90s, but like Belgian people who lived in the 90s.
Exactly. I mean, yeah, you have this complete absurd situation that people mass, yeah, collectively started to believe this guy was real, but everybody forgot about him. I mean, I was completely surprised. You think certain things when you make a movie, and if you're a filmmaker, you know this, that once it's made, it's out of your hands and it's out there. Yeah, I don't have any control over it. So for me, the surprise was, okay. I mean, he's going to America and streak. For me, that was the over the top thing, definitely. But they didn't. It was this cognitive dissonance or something that created that. Yeah. Anybody else? Yeah, man.
Thank you. Thank you for the movie and for your talk. I'm curious, could you expand more on what makes a film convincing? Why can you elaborate more on why do you think the Belgian TV audience believed the film? believe the story?
I think it's the easiest answer. I mean, you get captivated by this character, and you recognize, I guess, something in him that reminds you of you. I mean, this is a character who goes out and tries to find a purpose and follow his passion in an oppressive world. He just wants a little bit of attention, a little bit of love, and he does that in a funny way, and that's kind of what we all do, I guess. So you start, yeah, empathy. Empathy is the biggest generator of if you invest in somebody, in a character, in a story, you don't want to let go of that investment.
Okay. Hi, I'm Chilakato, and I was programming the special program which where this film was invited last year. The funny thing is that we programmed this film together with other two, and the subject was about cheating. There were other two films in which cheating was the subject. I mean, very interesting stories. And I wanted to mention also my experience with this film because it's very interesting. We are watching at least a few hundred films every year when we make the selection. And because this film was got our attention for this special program, I want to say that I do make fact checking with films where there is some question around that it can be something I'm not sure about it. So I remember when I watched Applausement, I Googled it to see who is this Anton. And eventually there was digital footprint on the Google with the press articles. So I said, okay, that was kind of a superficial fact checking, confirming that this is a real character. But eventually I didn't need it to go further because it was not important in that context. We are doing much more fact checking on when we are doing the selection, when in the case of films where there is activism involved and harder issues. I mean, it was not the case. So, but eventually, I was I didn't pay attention, to be very honest, if this film is a mockumentary or not. But I'm really glad when we find out to invite Ruben back to talk about it. I think it is very important. And if you already know that this is a mockumentary, it is the position of watching the film changes, and it is so nice. I mean, to follow a film and to self-check all our, all the convention which are used in this film, which kind of make us sure that everything is true in the film, like all the experts with the names and the way they were acting very well. No, I mean, the police and like the sister of Anton is acting so well. No, it was totally kind of acting spontaneously, and all that sorrow which came out, and I really like the how you built up the story, from cheating the public and stealing the applause from smaller event until, going to Obama, 2 million people. And that is the end. Of course, there is, So I think it is, even if a lot of documentary films are not kind of purposefully using it as you did from the start until the end, to use invented content. A lot of films, even if in our program and any other creative documentary festival program, are full of hybrid solutions, a lot of directing around. And so what Ruben told me when I asked him, why did you do it? I mean, you have to invest a lot of time to make a movie. And he said he wanted to try out his filmmaking skills, because if you want to make a good documentary, you have to do it very well. So it was also an exercise, as you told me eventually.
Yeah, yeah, that's maybe the most honest answer is exactly you want to test your skills as a director. Are you able to get best performance out of your actors, so they come across as very much believable? Can you pay attention to every little detail so you won't yeah, get discovered? So it's a very selfish reason this to make a documentary. And to be honest, or to add to what you have said, this digital footprint. The funny thing is, we never put anything on the web or something. We didn't do a Wikipedia page with Anton de Pauw did this, and this. Crossed our minds, but no, that's not what we were making. No, because otherwise you spoil the experience of the discovery of the truth makes you go back again. So no. But the funny thing is that journalists who began writing about this, they perceived it as real, and they start to write real articles on the internet about Anton, and then that way again it gets out of your hands. You cannot do anything about it, and the false yeah, the false articles just start to appear. It's like, yeah, okay, in what kind of society do we live? And yeah, you can argue, yeah, you should have been more clear. But like I said, you have different kinds of mockumentaries, and they have all their own purpose, and they can show you things in their own way. Another thing that I was thinking is, it's kind of popular in Romania, this movie. So if somebody has any idea why, then they can always share with me. If that is it, then
Thank you very much for the movie. Going on this discussion about fake and not fake. On my point of view, the movie was good, and it doesn't really matter was it real or not, because the movie is made to make us feel something, to feel empathy, to feel something, emotions to the character. And in the end, it doesn't really matter. We're reading fairy tales, we're watching Harry Potter, and we don't feel ourselves cheated after that. So why this kind of movies don't have right to exist? In my point of view, I just had pleasure watching this movie. And I wanted to ask you, on your point of view, what are necessary things that should include mockumentary? 3, 4, 5, I don't know, something necessary which it should have to be good.
wow. I don't know. It's I mean, it's you can't sum up this for a mockumentary. It's just the, for any good story, you need a good story. You need an appealing character. That are the basics. You need a very interesting conflict. Uh, you need to ask an important moral question, uh, and that's how it starts to get layered. And specifically for a mockumentary, I mean, just my personal taste. I like it when you use humor and irony, and it's yeah,
It starts from idea or from character or from conflict on your movie.
it's always different. Sometimes you may come up with this character, sometimes with this good story idea. In this case, it was of applause, and one image was the start of it all. So you can't really know where creativity will start. If you would know, then they will find it and beat it to death. Bastards who don't appreciate it. It's always something, yeah, above you, and it comes down, and
Thank you.
thank you. Nobody streaked my applause. Come on.